You can see the improvement. We've always been a pretty solid football conference, but now you've got 4 teams, if you count Boise, who will be in the league or in the top 25. So it's an encouraging period. We've got a lot of work to do. We're still working on bowl access. We're working on that 7th bowl. In fact, Bob Bowlesby and Larry Scott have talked about possibly being on the other side of that bowl, and it'll be a real system bowl game.
Wow.
It'll have semifinals. So we're working on that area too, and a bunch of other plans. We've got to come up with a divisional alignment in football, which will have interest obviously for SMU and Houston. And,
that's what I was going to ask you. If you knew how that would
Yeah, it's clearly, I haven't made a recommendation yet, but certainly looking hard at an East-West concept. I want to keep, the Western schools together if I possibly can. It makes sense. Minimize travel. I think it would help them. And as you know, we'll have San Diego State, Boise, and the 2 Texas schools. In addition, you'll have Memphis on the Mississippi, and that, I haven't again finished it, but I'm getting close to recommending something.
When do you think that?
Soon. It probably may make a recommendation to our athletic directors within the next month. We've got to go to our presidents in November, and I think we'll probably want to solidify a plan by then. We will have a championship game next year.
What factors will go into that decision besides geography?
I think rivalries, natural rivalries, but the geography works out actually very well if that's the way we go, because you've got teams obviously on the Eastern Seaboard, and then you've got a couple of teams that are more Midwest, Cincinnati and Louisville, and you could do a Western alignment. I don't know how we'll do it yet, but you could do that and minimize travel. What we really want to do, regardless of what we do, we want to minimize travel, and I think it'll be good for SMU and Houston and San Diego State and Boise to come east from time to time, because they'll get some great media attention. It'll be fun to play in a new area. The schools like Rutgers and Connecticut and Cincinnati and Louisville and the Florida schools will like to have them in their stadiums, but you want to minimize travel. You want to be fair to the kids, the stuff on the players, and I think the template of a national conference will work. There's no question in my mind it will work, but you've got to be careful about travel, no question. And when you look at the Pac-12, though, you think about, going from Arizona up to Washington, and that's why they schedule those dual trips, when they go up for, Oregon State and Oregon basketball is how they do it. But we'll figure it out.
Do you, back on that bowl, do you have a good indication that you guys will be included, or do you have access?
Yeah, I think, again, we're working on it. The commissioners have all said they support it. It would be it has to be a system bowl to really be at the highest level. And we're talking about when it has to have semifinal games. And that's the plan. We're working on it now. We're trying to get something finalized. The Big East, we think, with 4 other conferences, will definitely be on one side of that bowl game. And we think that the Big East, because of what we'll have in this league, should be the team in that game pretty much, most years, if not every year. That's our hope, that we can, on the field, do that. We have 4 teams in the top 25 right now, and no other conference, that would be potentially on that side of the bowl has one. So we're confident that we can create real access for our teams. It's not finalized yet, but we're talking to the Big 12 and the Pac-12, and they've talked about it a little bit publicly. Being on the other side of the game, we're not sure yet. It's possible that we could have some other conferences on the other side of the game. But it's a big breakthrough for us to have that. It's important for the Big East to have that access. We went through a tough time, obviously over the past year to 6 months, but we're really on the way back. We're rebuilding, and I think we've got a very bright future.
You're about 2 weeks away in terms of the exclusive window with the TV. Any updates on where you stand there? And
I can't get into it too much because it's pretty sensitive. But we've been talking to ESPN and CBS, our longtime partners, and we've had good talks. And things in negotiations like this, as you get toward the end of your negotiating period, things tend to heat up. But we've done a lot of work about trying to define the right kind of packages. So we're optimistic. We've had good talks with both our partners. We have a lot of interest from other networks. They've publicly expressed that. But I said from the beginning when I got this job that we were going to negotiate vigorously with our longtime partners. They've been great for us. As you know, we grew up with ESPN. They grew up with us. CBS has been with us almost from the beginning. So we have a long history there. And the thing about our conference right now, we have the sheer amount of our product. We're going to have over 300 basketball games, probably around 325 if you count the non-conference games and the tournament. We're going to have over 90 football games, depending on non-conference games, and we will have a championship game, and it'll be a great championship game. This is going to be a rugged football conference. It'll be a 12-team conference next year. At some point, it might be a 14-team conference. We don't know yet whether what we'll do about a 14th team. But as you know, Navy's coming in 15. So I think we have really attractive product, and the question is, how much networks can handle, and we'll figure it out.
Above and beyond just the sheer dollars, what are you looking for in that TV contract for your conference?
Exposure for the teams. We want to get as many games on national platforms as possible, whether it's broadcast, whether it's cable, whether it's digital. We want to make sure we get maximum exposure, not only for the football and men's basketball, but also women's basketball, which, as you know, the Big East has the best women's basketball in the country, and Olympic sports too. So we haven't even rolled out our own network. We'll talk to our partners about it. Again, when you have as many games as we have and as many good games, I would argue that the least marquee basketball game in our conference is better than what you see on a lot of the cable networks these days in terms of product. We have terrific product, and we have great football now. SMU and Houston, I think, will really enjoy being in the league, and they will really benefit by the level of competition they're going to face in this league. It'll really help raise their profiles. We're hoping to do a TV deal because, the exposure will mean a lot. And the financial side of it is huge, of course, because we want to create stability financially for the conference. We want to give schools the resources that maybe they didn't have before to keep up the programs. So clearly that's going to be very important. But the level of exposure and how we do it, how we dovetail the packages will be very important as well.